I was tired of not being able to do anything I wanted to do, right? Like I was stuck in a box and I got hit with everything in life going on around me, right? And I just felt like I was just getting beat up all the time. I finally realized that, hey, if I want to like fix my situation in my life, I need to be able to provide like financially for myself. I think it's just being obsessed with whatever product or service or whatever you want to do and offer. Get obsessed with it and then try to absorb yourself into that world. Anything I want in life is possible because I knew where I started from.
What do you feel like is a good acquisition for a small business in terms of wanting to grow through sales?
Get super strategic with it. Try to work within the budget you have and just put max effort in, right? If it's sending a bunch of emails out, if it's text messages, if it's calls, or whatever it is, you just got to find a good closer and give them a good split. We grew it to about 60 employees. We're doing just shy of 8 figures a year at that time, and pandemic hit. It shut down our industry. We're in small business lending. It decimated our industry. So we went from 60 employees down to maybe 5.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the On the Pursuit podcast. We interview 6, 7, 8, even 9-figure entrepreneurs. Today, we're in Irvine.
Yeah.
Back in California.
Welcome, man.
You know what I'm saying? What's going on? I got to introduce you, though, real quick. You know?
It's all right. It's all right.
Haven't been here for a couple of weeks. It's been about a month. You and I were looking to get together maybe a month ago.
Yeah.
Little schedule conflict on my side, but we've been talking through Instagram pretty consistently. You know what I mean? So back here, had to connect with you. Listen, y'all, I'm sitting next to an 8-figure entrepreneur, a father, right? Husband, a leader, and we're in this over 10,000 square foot office in the middle of Irvine where he's inspiring his troops, his team to generate revenue and change the trajectory of each and every of their families. So Manesse, welcome to the podcast, man.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah. And I know it's a little nice little, you know, this is what all the kids is wearing right now.
Yeah, just a little bit. I know. Yeah, that's funny. I just got it, so a little iffy, but you know.
So who is Manesse? And I know you were sharing with me off camera, right, as we're setting things up about how obviously, you know, COVID had an effect on your business.
Yeah.
But you bounced back after that.
Yeah.
You bounced back in a big way.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? And not only did you bounce back in a big way, you got recognition in a big way because, you know, you were part of the Inc. 5,000.
Yeah.
And everything like that. So break down to the people who may not know you, who may not quite know Manesse, the lead god, you know, on Instagram, social media, who may not know how you have grown this business. Let's kind of get into that a little bit.
Yeah, so my story's like some entrepreneurs you may know, some it may not be, but basically I was a high school dropout. My parents split up when I was younger. I ended up living with my mom. My mom gave me a choice at 17, 16 years old saying, go to work or go to school. I decided I just want to go to work. And it is what it is, right? So I dropped out of high school. I just started working full time. And, you know, during that path of, you know, partying, hanging out, doing stuff with, you know, my friends and trying to figure out my own life, right? Because at the end of the day, I moved out of my house at 16, 17 years old, just trying to figure things out. You know what I mean? Couch surfing on my buddy's couches.
Shout out to couch surfing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And, I mean, at the end of the day, it took me a couple years to figure out where my path was, you know what I mean? But after so long of being broke, after so long of not being able to fill up my car with gas, you know what I mean? After so long of not being able to go to the doctors or whatever it was, right? Just struggling, working a restaurant and serving and doing all that crap. I finally realized that, hey, if I want to like fix my situation in my life, I need to be able to provide like financially for myself, you know what I mean? And it was out of like desperation and pure need that I needed to get into something, a vehicle that can actually provide the income that I needed to support myself. That's it. So I fell into sales, and then that's when the ball started rolling for me.
So when you say you fell into sales, what was the first industry, what was the first product or service that you were selling?
Yeah,
so you fell onto it.
Yeah, so when I was working at a serving job. I was still broke. I got a second serving job. I was working morning and nights. I was even more broke. So I was spending money on gas. I just couldn't make any money. You know what I mean? And my buddy was working mortgage, and he said, "Hey, guys are making some good money here. 5, 10 grand a month, and then when you get into like the real sales, you can make 50 grand a month. You know what I mean?" I said, "Just get me in the door." I had no sales experience whatsoever, and it was an opening position. Basically, you're screening calls for the closers, right?
Okay, so basically like a setter type of
100%. Just qualifying people and just sending them over. And anyways, I got the job, and I became, pretty decent at it. And I think it was just a natural ability that I have of just being able to communicate and talk to people. But more importantly, I was desperate, like legitimately desperate. So once I figured out that guys were actually being able to make 10, 15, 20, 30 grand a month, something switched off in my brain.
Yeah. Like I can do it too.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Like I was talking to these guys on lunch and they're like, oh dude, I was just like you a couple years ago. Like now I'm making 25, 30 grand a month, right? So I think being exposed to that type of environment at a relatively young age, I was probably like 22, 23, and seeing that that exposure really did something for me. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
A lot of these guys were talking and giving me some good advice, and then and then that's kind of what turned me on. You know what I mean? And then I got obsessed with it. I've been obsessed with making money for fucking 15 years. You know what I mean? Once I knew that it was possible, I've been obsessed with it.
Yeah.
And not just because I want to make a bunch of fucking money so I can drive a nicer car. I wanted security, dude. I was tired of being broke. I was tired of fucking being poor. I was tired of, not being able to do anything I wanted to do, right? Like I was stuck in a box and I got hit with everything in life going on around me, right? And I just felt like I was just getting beat up all the time. So money is a tool. It's a tool and it's a resource for you to actually control your life more. You know what I mean? Simple as that. You know what I mean? All the other bullshit that comes along with it, those are the perks of having money.
Yeah.
But the real stuff is the security. And that's what I was after, coming from kind of my background.
So what are some of the things that you learned during that journey about yourself, right? Because at some point, like you said, you didn't know how to make the money, right?
Yeah.
You were broke or whatever situation may be. You were looking for an opportunity, and you were desperate for the opportunity. So when you had the opportunity and something switched within you, what are some of the things that you learned about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, guys, no one's gonna do it for you, right? It's you against you, 100%. Yeah. There's a song that's Moneybag Yo,
okay.
Me versus me, right? And that's truly what it is. Like, it's legitimately you versus you. So no one's gonna pick up the phones for you. No one's gonna show up to work for you. No one's gonna get you to pitch yourself to get yourself in a better opportunity.
No one's gonna drive me here to interview you.
100%, dude.
I mean, unless I get a driver.
Yeah, you need a driver. You need a chauffeur.
You're right.
But so no one's gonna do anything for you. So I realized that, dude, if I want to change my situation, I can't do the same shit that I was doing, which was partying my ass off, right? Hanging around with my buddies that were just broke, and doing the same shit I was doing. You know what I mean? So and again, it didn't happen just overnight. Like, it was a natural progression where I started shedding off some of my friends, my groups, and I started focusing on things that were important to me.
So you canceled people?
Yeah, 100%.
Intentionally.
100%. I had all the closest friends in the world, and I lived at their houses growing up. But eventually, my lifestyle started changing. I stopped drinking and all this stuff, and I got obsessed about self-improvement, right? And bettering my situation. And when I'm talking about obsessed, guys, I'm talking all I absorbed was movies about finance, making money. All the books I read was about making money and finance. All the documentaries I watched was about money and finance and self-improvement. I did this for fucking probably 10 years straight. I've watched every book, read every book that's basically been out. And I just try to push myself towards just being engulfed into that world. So when I had a shitty day, I can kind of pick myself up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I remember watching videos in my car. I had a laptop because I don't even think they had phone, YouTube shit back then. Maybe they did, I don't know. But I had a laptop and I had a DVD. I had a Wall Street DVD, the old one, you know what I mean? I had a bunch of other movies. I'd pop in there on my lunch break, trying to pump myself up to go back into work so I can close more. You know what I mean? That's the kind of mentality I have. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people don't think that's important or whatever it is, but for me, it was a passion that really, really drove inside me. You know what I mean?
you learn about yourself that you can correct me if I got this correct, but that basically you had an it sounded like an addictive personality.
Yeah, 100%.
For success.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't on that, it might have been on something else that obviously wasn't drive you in that.
I was always addicted. I was when I was really young. I was really into working out. You know what I mean? I don't work out as much anymore. I never need to. I know.
Yeah, bro, you got what I'm saying?
I eat well. And I do a little bit, but
you do some push-ups on the beat.
Yeah, but I was lifting like crazy, right? And that was I was super focused on that. 18 to 25 or 22. I was hyper focused on that. Then I was in a band, a legit metal band, music band, and we were doing little shows around, and I was obsessed with that. Everything I got into, I was really obsessed
with it. Yeah.
But unfortunately, none of that shit was paying my bills, right?
Yeah.
And I had to leave essentially the music stuff and the partying stuff, all that stuff behind because I needed to correct my life, my course, you know what I mean? And I could have been like any other person just kind of wandering around this world, or I thought about in 10 years, where the hell do I want to be?
Who do you want to become?
100%. I said, dude, I don't want to live this way. And I'm going to do anything I can to get out of the situation I'm in and look to better my life.
Got you.
Yeah.
So give like a blueprint to the audience right now. Maybe there's a younger Kim Manesse watching this, listening to this right now, right? They haven't picked up the books yet, right? They haven't got addicted to success yet, right? Maybe they still have people in their lives that, aren't the most supportive, right?
Yeah.
So what would the younger version of you or they do right now? What would be that blueprint?
Yeah, I think A is just absorb yourself with the information where you want to be, right? So if you want to be a successful entrepreneur, a filmer, a podcaster, whatever it is, right? Whatever path that you want to go, you got to start being obsessed with that. So you got to absorb your world around those type of things. So you got to be listening to stuff, reading about it, right? Trying to follow something, right? To get you to move forward, right?
Gotcha.
So because in life, it's not these huge leaps that you make. It's this incremental movements in your life, right? It's these little things that are like little tweaks, and then you do those over and over and over again after years, and eventually your life just naturally progresses and it gets better. But I think it's just being obsessed with whatever product or service or whatever you want to do and offer. Get obsessed with it, and then try to absorb yourself into that world. So just straight absorption, I guess you could say.
Okay, so they get absorbed in it, and then you found sales.
Yeah.
Right. So would you say sales is a good place where someone that really doesn't know where they want to go, how to change their life, is that a good category,
100%.
a good space to go into?
I tell everybody all the time, I think sales saved my life, 100%.
Okay, and why would you say that?
Because there's no way I would have been able to make the money that I was making without sales, 100%. There's no way. I dropped out of high school. I was, bouncing around. I didn't really have any job requirements. All I had was me, right? So when I was working at the mortgage company, I worked there for like almost 2 years or so. And then I realized, the industry is really fluctuated by rates. So rates were really low at the time when I was working there, and then they started jumping up. And then everyone was not making money. They fired like 60 people one day on the whole floor. It was like an 800-person company. And I was like, shit, I got to figure out something to make money, you know what I mean? Because right now, the rates are a little iffy. Even the top guys dropped down. So I wanted to find a new industry. So my brother was working in business financing, doing sales, and he was basically making some good money, you know what I mean? So he said, hey, come over and try this product out, right? And I got into that. I got into business financing sales, and after again another year or so, I got actually fired from that job for not performing. But I was doing good, but I was not hitting the metrics they wanted to hit. I wasn't closing out the percentages, but that was like my real first closing job where I was actually closing the customer from start to finish.
So you was learning though.
100%. Yeah. Before I was an opener. I went from an opener to a closer, closing business owners, entrepreneurs, guys that started with nothing, and me, little old me, you know what I mean, 23, 24 years old, trying to pitch an entrepreneur to take a business financing offer that maybe, they didn't want, or as far as the terms they wanted, right? So I had to overcome objections to learn all this stuff.
Yeah, facts.
So after a year of working that job, I got fired, and then but I knew, I'm like, fuck, I know I can do this. I saw guys in the office making 10, 20 grand, 30 grand, all that stuff, and then I had a couple good months in there making 7 grand, 8 grand, and I was like, holy crap, I can do this. You know what I mean? The next job, the next month, I got a new job in a new spot. In that first month, I was the top guy in the company.
Was it the same industry?
Yeah, same industry.
Okay.
Yeah, I was the top guy in the industry, or in that company, and I made like a 10 or 12 grand check that 1 month. You know what I mean? And then I knew like I was gonna go on a run. After that, I just was cracking off every single month. And my last check before I left the company to start this company, I made like a 20 grand check. And I framed that in my office downstairs just to remind me that anything I want in life is possible, because I knew where I started from. And I have my check that I actually got when I left serving framed as well. It's a $2 check for the wages that I was getting paid. So I have a $2 check and I have a $20 check just to remind me that there's a delta. And sometimes
so $2 check and a $20,000 check.
100%, yeah. And that was like maybe like 3 maybe 4 year stint of trying to get there, right? But that time passed. All my buddies, everybody was doing the same old stuff or whatever they're doing, and now I was starting to make some real money. You know what I mean? And then now I knew that I could do the sales. my next thing was, how do I make the big money? How do I make what the owners are doing?
Yeah.
And that was my next progression.
So that's really interesting, right? Because you said, you know, you got fired from the first one, but it was a great space.
100%,
right?
yeah. 100%.
You were learning a lot, and they had a certain standard, right? And you were successful, but you just wasn't hitting the metrics that they would like to see for the people that was closing for them.
Yeah.
Right? So then they let you go. You found another opportunity with another company doing something similar, and now you're starting to crank, right? You're hitting even numbers higher than what you were saying with these guys.
100%.
You find a flow, right? Like you said, you go on a run, and you know, how much time do you spend there?
I was probably there for no less than a year.
Okay, so you spent about a year or so over there, and then you like, all right, now I really want to get to the bag. You know what I'm saying? Bag it up. I really want to get to the bag.
Yeah, 100%. Because I knew, like, it was a small company, maybe like 10 people, but I was, you know, I was making 10, 15, 20 grand checks month after month.
Yeah.
And I was the top guy in the company. The owner was kind of showing up some days, not showing up other days. And I was like, dude, this guy doesn't want it.
Yeah.
Right? But he had some good things about his company. He had a lot of leads coming in. So I knew if I was going to, quit my job, which I was making good money, and take that risk, I better figure out the marketing side.
Yeah.
So prior to, you know, quitting that job, 6 months leading up to it, I was like testing different marketing stuff every single weekend, at the end of the day, you know what I mean? And I was testing stuff to see if I can bring in the leads, because I knew I can close at that point, right?
You just need to be on the phone.
100%.
You just need the people.
And then once I found that, then that's when I made the switch. In that first month, you know, I think we brought in like 50 or 60 grand by myself.
Right. So let's talk about the actual company you have now.
Yeah.
Right. For those that aren't really sure what business financing is, or you know what you actually help people with, why don't we touch on that really quick, and we talk about how it has grown.
Yeah, so the company that I own and founded is Direct Funding Now. I founded it back in 2015, but really didn't get started until 2016. We provide working capital to small businesses nationwide. So basically, guys like you have small companies. Really, the highest cap of revenue we typically do is maybe $30 million a year in revenue, right? So it's guys that are doing $250K a year in revenue to $30 million. And what we do is we give them basically capital on a shorter terms, 12 to 24 months. And we go off their cash flow of their business. So if you're doing 50 grand a month consistently over the last couple of months, you've been in business for 1 or 2 years, we can give you potentially, you know, $50,000, right? And you're going to pay us back within 12 to 24 months. And there's no collateral needed. You can get approved within 24 hours, if not a couple hours, and you can get funded the next day. So it's super fast, it's super quick, it's all online, and then you work with our sales team. And since then, we've done close to $1 billion funded to small businesses. Again, these are not huge corporations. These are small businesses, mom and pop shops, John's Pizza Store, right?
Yeah.
All those type of businesses. And we fund thousands of customers every single year, almost 500 customers every single month. And yeah, every year it gets bigger and bigger. And I think with the current state of the economy, with rates being high, with inflation, all this stuff, the small guy gets squeezed, and big banks is not lending to guys like us, right? Yeah. They like big companies. They like a lot of collateral. They want you to put up your house. All we're saying is like, hey, we're going to give you this $100,000, but you're going to pay us back this, and then you're done with us. We're not taking any equity. It's a straight signature, basically funding, and then you're off to the races.
Yeah. See, that's very interesting, because I feel like a lot of business owners, even small business owners, they don't even know that exists.
Yeah, I know.
Right? Yeah. They're not aware that, you know, I might need a bridge loan, or I might need access to capital, or I might need access to some type of funding that's going to allow me to get in front of more people, buy more products and services that I need, you know, to grow the business, right? So how are they becoming more aware of your services? How are the ways that you're able to market to them?
Yeah, I mean, that's the difference between you and another guy, right? Is you marketing your product, right?
Yeah.
You making it look better than the other guy, or just letting them know that that product's available, that service is available. So we do a lot of outreach to customers through digital, through calls, through email, to everything, right? I'm a strong believer in the law of multiples, meaning multiple verticals at all times, right? I want customers coming at me to my sales floor in multiple different ways, through multiple different channels every single day, Monday through Friday. Yeah, so basically we outreach to these customers, let them know that, hey, you could potentially be qualified for some business funding, and they apply online with us, and then they get assigned to basically an account manager, and they walk them through the process, go over the options that are available, and help their business get funded.
So what does that process look like as far as a lead that might be cold, may not even know you exist, how you get in front of that client?
Yeah, so let's say we email them, right? Saying, hey,
So cold email?
Yeah, let's say we email that customer saying, hey, it looks like you may qualify for some business funding based off your industry or whatever it may be. You can apply here and see what options are available, right? They go online, they apply, they legitimately put in 20 questions for their business of just basic business information, right? Revenue, time in business, industry, estimated credit score, all that stuff, right? And then we ask for 4 months of business bank statements. That's it. 4 months of business bank statements. With an application done online and 4 months bank statements, we can get you approved within a couple hours or 24 hours of real approval terms, right? And then we're gonna go over those offers with you, see what you're looking for, see what can be a good fit for your business, and really try to be a consultant for your business, right? And whatever product or offers available for you, we let you guys know. You choose which one is best for you, you get funded, and you move on with your life and your business.
So what if somebody's like scared to do that, right? What are some of the terms looking like?
Yeah, terms can be anywhere from 12 to 24 months. And as far as the cost of the funds, that's going to be dependent on multiple different factors, right? Your revenue, your credit score, your time in business. We look at a bunch of different factors, but what we do look at is businesses doing over $250K in annual gross revenue, been in business for 1 year, and a FICO score at least 550 and above.
Okay.
So it's like you got to have a pulse. But basically, the terms get better as you're doing more revenue, right? Your cash flow looks better. We're going to look if you're going negative all the time. That's not a great sign, right? If your credit's good, then the terms and the rates and all that stuff gets better. 100%. But we offer lines of credit. We offer SBA products. We offer more equipment financing, all types of financing. So it's not just a straight, basically funding term. It's multiple different products for these businesses.
So the lead god, right? Where did that come from? And then how did you become the lead god?
Yeah, so I think, again, to go back to the one company when I started doing sales and I started making some real money, there's one thing that I saw that they were doing really well. They were bringing in a lot of leads consistently. So once I saw that, I said, okay, if I can bring in a lot of leads and I can do the sales, then I can maybe make a lot of money, right? And I can potentially hire people to join my team to make a lot of money with me, right?
Yeah.
So I realized like early on that sales is, eat what you kill, get crazy good at it, and you can print money forever. And secondly, figure out how to generate leads for yourself or work with a company that's generating a lot of leads so you have tons of opportunities and get a good commission comp plan, right? And sometimes you got to prove yourself and kind of work your way up, but get at a company that has a lot of leads, a lot of opportunities, and you want to drive as much traffic for your product or service every single day, right? I want my guys so flush with leads they'll never leave me. You know what I mean? That's what I believe in. At sometimes crazy cost, you know what I mean? But I'm a firm believer of giving these guys opportunities so that way they can hit their goals, right? And if I make them hit their goals, they're going to stay with me longer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So again, I think everything comes down to marketing, generating leads, and the lead god just came out on Instagram. Basically, I just wanted to start, having more of a social presence and talking about things that I'm inspired about, which is entrepreneurship, self-development, and just really just getting better every day. And leads is something that I believe in, marketing, and that's just kind of something that stuck.
What are the different channels or way one could generate leads?
Simplest thing, your phone, dude. You know what I mean? Like everyone's got a phone, and you can call whoever, right? So getting targeted lists that are maybe in your sector or industry, jump on the phone, start calling. And there's systems nowadays that you can call people a little bit more or whatever it is, right? Emails, texts, all this stuff is like super important, right? So you don't need to go spend $50,000 or $100,000 on Google and Facebook and compete with the big guys. You can do it, on your phone. You know what I mean? So get super strategic with it. Try to work within the budget you have and just put max effort in, right? If it's sending a bunch of emails out, if it's text messages, if it's calls, or whatever it is, call centers, whatever it is, the law of multiples, more calls, more volume, more leads, more closings.
So a business that's starting right now, let's say it's been operating for 6 months, 12 months.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Going into year number 2. And, they don't really have a marketing budget. Crazy. They got a little bit of money. All their leads is coming through from referrals and word of mouth.
Yeah.
They haven't really put any organic out there. They haven't really went crazy with ads.
Yeah.
So a company that's set up like that, based on your experience, what would you recommend? How could they turn it over in the next 30 to 60 days?
Yeah, I mean, when I started with a couple grand budget. That was it. You know what I mean? And just figuring it out. But I think you got to figure out what your target market is, and you got to start acquiring lists of these customers to start going after them, right? So for you, if you have podcast people, you want to be acquiring people that have these lists that are applied for some podcasts, right? There's these customers that have applied all around, and then you start reaching out to them to offer your product or service, right? Going off referrals and word of mouth, it's going to get you so far. You're not going to be able to build a real business off it, 100%. You need to be doing a lot of outreach to customers. And again, thank God for social nowadays. You can do it through social media, YouTube, but you need to be doing consistent outflow. So regardless if it's on a social media post every single day or an email or call, and it should be
you should have stuff going out.
100%. So if you're a small business owner and you're just starting out and you're trying to get your word out, right? Again, every industry is different, so there's going to be different obstacles, right? It's going to be different if you're in an insurance company versus doing a pizza store. You're not going to call people to see if they want pizza, but you can send them direct mail.
That would be interesting.
You never know. I got this pizza. I could do, but you can go offices and you can market to them. You can, hey, we do this, catering service, whatever it is. It's outreaching to customers because no one's going to know who you are. You got to let people know who you are, and there's only one way of doing that. It's strictly outreach. You know what I mean? Other than that, you can spend money on Google and deal with their AdWords and their costs. And then, at a certain point, it's hard to generate big revenue for certain products. You know what I mean? So I'm just a firm believer in outreach, bringing a lot of customers in through your funnel, through multiple different verticals, and then your team, specializes and help that customer out.
So what do you feel like is a good acquisition for a small business in terms of wanting to grow through sales? Would you say like getting like a closer and a setter? Would you say that business owner should just be hammering the phones? What do you think is like a really important first hire, someone looking to grow?
Yeah, I think, every industry is different, but you just got to find a good closer and give them a good split. You know what I mean? Because if you go find an appointment setter, then a closer, and that guy's not closing, then you're spending money on generating leads, it just gets heavy. You got to get somebody bought in, give them a good split, right? So they can make some good money and give them a lot of opportunities coming in. If you do that, then they can start closing deals and make money. It's a win-win, right? So then there you have a model. Then as you grow and expand and you're bringing more leads in, bringing more salespeople in, then you can start bringing in like appointment setters, right? But it's a little bit hard right off the bat to bring in appointment setters, then leads, and then CRM costs and all the other costs it costs to generate these customers, right? I would say just be strategic with it, right? You just need a good closer. Sell your buddy that's a good sales guy to join your team.
Come on in.
Dude, I'll give you 50% split of every deal you close, right? Like, that's not ideal right off the, long term, but in the beginning you can offer, things because you just need to bring in revenue, right?
And I might just be like you said, it could be the homeboy, but it could be just like one person so you can get that momentum, and then you bring on other people that might be 20%, 15%, 10% or something.
So how I brought on my first employee, she was one of the top closers at another company. She wasn't happy, she didn't like the comp, all this stuff, right? I was telling her how much money I was making, and my brother, he joined my company as well, we partnered up. I was telling him how much we were making, how many leads we're getting. And I gave her a good split, and I said, come on over, I'm gonna feed you a bunch of leads, I'm gonna stay out of your way, and you're just gonna make money, you know what I mean? But she believed me because I was closing it and doing it myself.
Yeah, facts.
That's the only way. That's the only reason why.
Yeah.
I didn't tell her like, hey, I got this idea and I'm thinking, dude, she's a breadwinner for her family, you know what I mean? There's no way, you know what I mean? So she needed to know that the opportunity was there. And I had to first prove it to myself, then I had to prove it to my brother, my business partner, to join my company, because I was like, hey, I need probably someone to join and help me get this thing going, you know what I mean? And he's 10 years older than me, so he had it was different. I was young. I was 25 when I started. He was 35, right? Yeah. So, and he had way more experience in sales and other stuff, which, provided a lot of value. But give somebody what they don't have somewhere else and give them an opportunity, you know what I mean? And share the pie with them.
I agree with that.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Okay, look, so this is how we're gonna get you more exposure using the pod equals MC square strategy, right? Then we're gonna bring out the air fryer and then connect it to the toaster oven method, right?
I think I wasted my money.
And after we do all this, we're gonna get you 1 million views and millions of subscribers.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I got you. Let me go get something.
What's this box about? Wow! Bro, what is that?
So we got your long form podcast right here, right? This is long form audio.
Okay, now I'm getting my money's worth.
We got a service to get more exposure, get more views, and get more call to action to get more sales.
Let's go.
This is what you need to do to get more of this. Now do you understand?
I completely get the vibe now. Before, I don't know what you was talking about, but this right here, we're gonna make a lot of money.
Inc. 5,000.
Yeah.
What does it take for a business to qualify for that? And then how fast were you able to get ranked on there?
Yeah, so our company really started going in like 2016, but I think by mid 2016 I hired my first employee. By the end of 2019 I had almost 60 employees.
60?
Right? 60, yeah.
Okay.
So we grew really quick, right? The only reason I was able to grow that fast is because I was hyper-focused on generating leads every single day. So I took myself out of sales after probably a couple months of bringing on
focus on generating leads.
100%. I got obsessed with it. Just like I was telling you before, I got obsessed with self-development, making money. Now it's about generating leads. It wasn't so much closing anymore. I brought better people than closers than I was, right? I was a good closer. I can close a lot of people, but I brought in killers, right? And I told them, hey, I can bring in a lot of leads. And if these guys didn't get the leads, they would go somewhere else. You know what I mean? So again, I got super hyper focused on marketing, generating tons of leads. At one point, prior to the pandemic hitting, when we had 60 employees, at the end of 2019, we were generating probably 800 calls a day to our floor. Right? So endless opportunities. You know what I mean?
And these are all people that want money too, which they're gonna close.
100%.
You're giving them something that they want. So
Yeah,
it's not like you calling them something like, hey, listen, I got this. What are those things where people go to the timeshares? I got a timeshare.
No.
You're giving people something that they want.
Yeah, I'm knocking on your door. I'm calling your phone. I'm sending you an email to John, the business owner, saying, hey, do you need money? No? Okay, I'm going to follow up with you next week. Do you need money again?
Yeah.
Through multiple different channels.
They're eventually going to need some money.
Eventually, when he needs money or he has an opportunity or has a need, he applies with us, right? So we grew it to about 60 employees. We're doing just shy of 8 figures a year at that time. And pandemic hit, okay? Pandemic hit. It shut down our industry. We're in small business lending. It decimated our industry. So we went from 60 employees down to maybe 5, right? And during that 5 employees, we were all just kind of like hanging around, basically waiting for the market to open back up because they're shutting down businesses, they're opening them up. Our lending partners did not want to fund small businesses because they kept on shutting them down, right? And we kind of sat back like patiently waiting. It was super like, it was definitely weird at that time because I didn't know when everything was going to come back. We didn't know how many of these things were going to keep rolling, you know what I mean? But during that time, what I did, because I really didn't have much to do, was I was working on different email marketing strategies and different lead strategies. And I got
so you were sharpening your you couldn't close no deals at a time.
100%.
But you was getting better.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So during that whole time, I was sitting at my house, and thank God that I worked my ass off for the last couple years, and I was able to have a good amount of savings and basically feel secure, right? So I knew I could just weather the storm. You know what I mean? I was pretty flush, right? So I knew it was just a matter of time before it was about to pop up. And if it didn't pop up again, dude, I wasn't gonna be like, that was my one shot. No, I was gonna jump and do another industry, like 100%. Like I was already in the works to figure out if I was gonna do a different sector, different industry, or was I just gonna stay in my industry, right? Thank God we did. The small business started opening back up again, and then then we just went on a run. You know what I mean? So to answer your question about the Inc. 5000, you get it if you're doing like basically multiple. So if you do $1 million 1 year, you have to do like $5 million like 3 years from now, basically. And they look at like a multiple math for businesses that have been in business for like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years or something like that.
Gotcha.
And then every year they rank you based off of 5,000 businesses nationwide. And the first year we got it, we were 325 or 321 of the fastest growing company out of the 5,000.
Which is pretty dope.
100%, because we went from like 0 in revenue,
325,
to doing almost 8 figures prior to the pandemic. So
like at this point in your journey, what are some of the obstacles you have? Because now you're making the money.
Yeah.
You got the team.
Yeah.
Good office. You know what I'm saying? So it's not the same obstacles that you had previously. So what do those look like now?
Yeah, so now it's just completely different, right? So I think like with everything in life, like there's like a level up, right? So you get to a baseline, you figure it out, and there's 1 or 2 things which I see. I see, our competition, other business owners, they get comfortable, they get complacent, right? They get complacent where they're at, and they realize, hey, this is a good life. I can just kind of ride this wave, and man, I want to invest a little bit more because it's a little bit more risky. I've already invested enough and I've already done this. And I think that's the difference between myself and some other owners and some of my competitors is leveling up. I always level up. I always invest and go for the next stage. You know what I mean? So for us, it's just about constantly pushing the boundaries of what we're comfortable with to increase our revenue, to provide more of an impact to our customers and our employees. And that's it. You know what I mean? And then by a byproduct of that, I get a big financial windfall, right? So the more I can provide for my employees, the better lives I can treat them and provide a good opportunity for them. They're going to do a kick-ass job at their position. In return, the company's going to make a lot of money, and then I'll make a lot of money. Yeah. And we're in direct correlation, right? So I think it's just about leveling up. You need to keep leveling up and get yourself to the next level. And that's kind of, I'm just a firm believer in that.
What did that look like for you, like mindset-wise, right? So what were some of the preparation you might have done for like the mental level ups, right?
Yeah, so it's funny enough, dude, it's the same shit I was doing before. Podcast now. Before they didn't have podcasts, right? Yep. But it's listening to podcasts, dude. I'm straight up, like, I'm obsessed with listening to podcasts. Any entrepreneur that's doing things way bigger than me, right? At levels that I've like really aspire at. I'm listening to them now. You know what I mean? I'm reading their books. I'm watching documentaries. I'm doing the same stuff I've been doing.
But just at a higher scale.
Yeah, before I was obsessed with salespeople and closing and, you know, boiler room type of stuff, right? Just like straight like commission and guys driving a nice car, like, but then once you get that stuff, you got to start leveling up, you know what I mean? So now it's, you know, about getting to that next level. And for me, you know, thank God I've done decently well at business and I have a little bit more of a social following and platform now. I can start reaching out to these people directly.
100%.
That's crazy. Yeah. That was never before. Now I can reach out to guys like you. I can reach out to big guys that have done way bigger things than I'm doing, and I can directly talk to them. I was just on a call with a billionaire last night that had 2 acquisitions for like a couple $1 billion.
Yeah.
Straight through a referral and talking through Instagram, right? If I have never done what I was that I needed to do to get myself in the position that I am today and provide a vehicle for not just myself, my employees, there's no way I would have been taking these calls, right? But every little step is a natural progression to get better. And I think if you're not growing, you're dying. And I'm just a firm believer in that.
Well, what are you afraid of?
It's a good question. Failure.
Even at this level?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I don't think about it as I'm going to lose my business every single day, but I still have this deep gut knowing that it can be taken away from me at any point, right? It's a business, dude. I've seen businesses crumble. We've seen huge companies crumble overnight.
Yeah, yep.
It can go away. I know it can. But I'm really more so of a failure, having a fear of not reaching my full potential, right? And in business, there's no cap. You can make $10,000 a year, or you can make $1 billion a year. It's strictly built off of the back and the work that you're going to do every day. So if there's no cap in business, my failure is not reaching the potential of having $1 billion company.
Yeah, that's heavy.
Right?
Yeah.
And maybe I'll never get there, but maybe I will. Back in the day, no one told me I was going to do the shit that I'm doing now. Everyone told me it's too hard, you can't figure out the marketing, you're not a good closer, all this bullshit. I've been getting told all this stuff for so many years. You know what I say to everybody, and I preach this on my Instagram? Don't listen to them when they say it can't be done, right? Because everybody all my life told me I couldn't do this, I couldn't have a company, you're too young, you know what I mean? No one's going to join your team, that marketing's dead, or whatever it is. I never listened to anybody. I listen to the daily actions, what I did on a daily basis as data and feedback.
Yeah.
Of course, I'll listen to some people higher above me, but I'd never listen to anybody just on my level or even a little bit above me. I was trying to listen to the guys and see what other guys were doing.
Super up there.
100%.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's just, you know, in life, there's so much input of everything going on, from social media to family to all this shit, and it's hard to digest and figure out what you need to do. But when you go to bed at night, you know what your dreams are, right? And if your dream is to do what you're doing now, then great. But if your dream's something bigger, then you need to go after it. And no one's going to do it besides you. So you have the next morning to wake up and go after your dreams.
So who are the, I guess, what are some of the podcasts, and then who are some of the people that you're paying attention to right now that are doing some of the next level things that are inspiring you?
Yeah, so I mean, like, I think I have like a different, like, I have like traditional business entrepreneurs, right, that I'm obsessed with. There's some guys in my space right now that are doing $50 to $100 million a year in revenue, right? So I watch them, I listen to them, right? I listen to their podcasts, they're not big social media people, right? But they're doing something very similar to me, right? But then I also have like other entrepreneurs that are just, the typical entrepreneurs that you see on Instagram that had big businesses and have big, sales. And then I listen to guys that have like more social media presence now, right? Because I'm a little bit more interested in that. Wes Watson, right? All these guys, Grant Cardone's, all these kind of guys that have these big social media presence, and I'm kind of figuring out things I like and don't like about them, but things that maybe I can implement for my strategies, right? And stuff that I want to do for social stuff.
Yeah.
But I think it's a variety of entrepreneurs. You know what I mean? I think you find people that you like and then latch onto them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. How have you found, like, when you find these strategies that you're fast to implement them?
Yeah.
So what does that look like?
Yeah, so like a marketing strategy?
Well, like if you listen to a podcast or if you're reading a book or watching a movie and you're like, this one thing or these things would be great. What's your process of taking that information or being inspired by that lesson or principle and then implementing that? How long does it take?
Simple as that.
Are you doing it right away?
100%. If I see something that like sparks something in my brain, I'll implement it in my business the next day. I'll go to my partner and say, hey, I have this idea. And my partner, thank God, we're just down for it, right? We're going to try something over and over and over again. Not the same thing typically, but we're usually going to learn at some point. But we're going to try new things a lot, right? And probably 95% of them will fail.
Yep.
But the 5% that works, that's going to make you millions, right? So even if it's just like a sales strategy or workflow strategy that I saw online, or I saw another company doing really well with, right? Or a marketing approach, right? Or simple corporate structures. And we're raising a fund here pretty soon to fund our small businesses. We're launching a new company that's going to fund the businesses directly, so we don't use any lenders. We're going to be funding with our own money.
Yeah, that's pretty
We're
heavy.
raising a big fund, and we brought the right people in. And again, it's about learning stuff, implementing it quickly, right? And it's nice having financial resources now where I can go after these things quickly, but you still do them strategically. You still do them with budget in mind. But I think it's just action. I think that's just the difference between me and a guy that's not in my position. I think the difference between a guy that's above me, he had different actions than I'm doing right now, right? But I know eventually, if I keep implementing action after action, I'm gonna hit something, and then, boom, your business takes off, and then you're on to the next level.
So earlier, you also talked about like money a little bit, right? So you're talking about money's a tool and it's a resource. So what are some of the ways that people should look at money that can actually help them grow their business, but then also change their lives? Because there's a lot of people that are really afraid of they hoard the money or they keep it. They're afraid to spend it. They're afraid to invest it. They feel like they're gonna lose it.
Yeah, and I understand too, dude. I didn't have any money, right? So like I never had any money, and then I started making a little bit of money, and then when I started making money, I was very conservative with it, dude. Like drove an old Honda, the cheapest apartment I could, and I hoarded every single dollar. I was shopping at Old Navy, you know what I mean? Making 10, 20 grand a month.
So this ain't the Old Navy shirt?
No, not anymore. But levels. Yeah. But you know what I mean? But you know what I mean? So money needs to be treated obviously with respect. You got to understand that it comes at you sometimes fast, but it can leave you even faster, right? So I was obsessed with watching my money, looking at it, right?
So daily.
100%.
Yeah.
I still to this day look at a monthly report of all of my fucking money. All the places where it's at, I look at it, where it's at, right? But in the beginning, it was just about watching the money in the savings account, But I knew at some point I had to double down if I was going to start leveling up, right?
Double down on?
On some investment or starting my business, which was basically what I did. So I had a little bit of money saved up, probably about 40 grand saved up, and I grabbed that money and I started the company. And I said, if this business fails, right, I can always go back to sales and make the money. There's my safety net.
Yeah.
I can blow all the money and that would suck because it took me some time to make that money and save up and pay the tax man and all that shit, right? I was super conservative with everything. And I took that investment and I turned a couple grand into tens and tens of millions of dollars, right? But I would have never been able to do that if I didn't take an action, right? And then invest the money. So I think, cool, be smart with your money, save up your money. You should be obsessed with bringing in money for yourself, for your family, for yourself, just as a human in an economic environment. Everything's expensive. Everything costs money. So you should be obsessed with bringing it in and figuring out ways to level it up. You know what I mean? So I just kept on keeping a close eye on it. And then once I realized I had an opportunity, I took advantage of it and I spent. You know what I mean? And I kept on spending. And that's all I did over and over, and I still do it to this day.
Where were ways that you weren't able to, once the money came in, that you maybe planted some seeds so that money could bring in other money for you?
Yeah, and I'm not talking about investment properties. I'm not talking to you about that bullshit, dude. Like, I'm talking about investing in my business, right? So all the money I did for multiple years as we were scaling up to those 60 employees before the pandemic, I was investing tens of thousands of dollars, $50,000 on new marketing strategies, hiring a bunch of employees. Everything was a big investment, right? There was a point at our time in our business when we were scaling up, there was probably about 25 of us. Our competitor closed down. They had 25 employees. Overnight, I told my leasing office, we need to knock down this wall. I'm putting in a desk, and I'm hiring all these employees.
People, yeah.
And overnight, we went from 25 employees to 50 employees like that. And my revenue just shot up. But I would never been able to do that if I was scared. Well, maybe I'll bring on one or two, and I don't know if I can do it. And like I said, let's do it. We knocked down a wall. I have pictures of it. Knocked down a wall. We threw cords, wires hanging around everywhere. It was wild. You know what I mean? We stuck people in the desk and gave them an opportunity to make the money, and then our businesses took off.
Yeah.
But again, that was a huge investment when I could have been like, I'm not going to do it. So every time I keep leveling up on this, on the investment in my company, all the new stuff we're doing now, about the lending I just told you about, raising the fund, that costs a lot of money to roll that out, right? But I know I don't. If I fail, that money's gone. Whatever, I'm gonna make the money back.
Yeah.
But if I win, dude,
You're gonna win big.
I'm gonna win real big.
Yeah,
And I already
yeah.
know I'm gonna win big because I got the model and the sales floor out there, right? So now it's just leveling up. So yeah, it just constant. You got to be reinvesting in yourself, 100%.
Yeah. What about personal brand? Because I've been watching you on the gram a little bit.
Yeah.
You've been doing a little bit more. You got a podcast now. You're connecting with a lot of cool people. Even like you said, you connected with that billionaire, but that was through social media.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the importance of personal brand and how you're kind of approaching it.
Yeah, so I think personal brand for me, before like being on social, I was posting pictures of a dog. You know what I mean? Just random shit. You know what I mean? And I just didn't use it for anything. And I looked at guys that were doing it, were kind of like, self-absorbed and kind of like just flashy, whatever it was. I don't know. That's the way I thought about it. You know what I mean? But nowadays, your social media is actually it's your business card. It's a modern day business card. Who you are, what have you done, what do you know, and how can you be of service to potentially myself or people around me or whatever it is, right? That's all social media it is, right? So, and the great thing about it, it's free. And you can blast out, I can post 10 times today if I wanted to, right? And you can do whatever you want, whenever you want, at all times. So I think having a personal brand or just having a social presence in general is extremely important to get your message out. Who are you? What can you do? And how can you be of service to your community or people around the world?
Are you using it consistently?
100%.
Yeah.
So like everything else, like in the beginning I was slow, started ratchet up. Now I'm investing more money into it on a monthly basis. And I'm just pumping out as much content as I like. And at the same time, I'm trying to get better. I'm not just posting stuff and being like, oh, there's a video. I'm looking at it and I'm listening to it and I'm looking at other guys' content and I'm being like, well, dude, my stuff looks like crap compared to his. You know what I mean? Or I like that strategy. So same thing I did with marketing. I'm constantly iterating and optimizing what I'm doing, right? And I want to do it bigger, better, faster, cleaner, better content, or whatever it is, right? So it's constantly just looking at things and trying to make them better. And luckily I have, and I don't think I'm great at it, but I have a natural gift of looking at things and seeing what the hell I'm not doing, what the hell I should be doing. You know what I mean? And sometimes it takes the time to get there, but I know if I keep working on it, and eventually it gets better, just like everything else.
So what platforms are you using?
Mostly Instagram.
Okay.
Not so much on TikTok, but we'll see what's up with that. And then YouTube.
Okay, so
you know what I mean?
YouTube, yeah.
And YouTube, I'm still getting my bearings going with it. You know what I mean? But again, I think it's just about starting and then just keep it going, right? Like you have obviously a natural gift with what you're doing, but more importantly, it's the reps that you're putting in every day. You are doing it so hard and so consistently that if anybody comes to your page, they're not wondering what the hell you do. They know what you do. You know what I mean? Within 5 seconds, I know what you do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then can I get any benefit from this or not, right? And if I do, great, I'm gonna follow you and absorb your information or just move on with my life. And maybe down the line, he might come back, right? But I think it's just consistency, output, and just sharing your knowledge and your experience with the people that are following you.
So earlier you also talked about, and I feel like I want to share this with them. You talked about like you built up within yourself like that addictive personality, right? Like you said, you was absorbing books, movies, podcasts on sales, entrepreneurship, whatever, right? So then when you had down days, you had this reserve that you can go to, or if you had a bad day, you had this reserve you can go to.
Yeah.
Nowadays, since it's different, you're successful now. Are you using that same type of plan to go back to if when you have these down days, if it's emotional or if it's like a bad day at the office, like how do you work through that?
It's kind of crazy. I keep going back to this, but like when I have a shitty day in my office or a shitty couple weeks or things are just not hitting like I wanted to, and you're thinking like, shit, did I got it anymore? Or what am I not seeing? Am I not paying enough attention? I got to get motivated. For me personally, I got to get motivated, right? So I need to go watch legitimately a YouTube, a documentary, a movie, something about someone. Wolf of Wall Street,
stimulate
dude.
you. Yeah.
I got to get this thing ticking again, right? And I got to read something, right? I got to absorb something for me personally, because I can have a shitty day, a week, a month, a year, whatever it is. But if there's something that like clicks in my brain, it like picks me up again, and I get like that energy. And the next day,
I know what that feels like.
Right?
Yeah,
and the next day you wake up and you're like, I got it. You know what I mean? Even though things might be a little tough and rough again, for me, it's just about that motivation. You know what I mean? Consistent motivation in the times of like down. And other times I absorb it anyways, just naturally. But then when I'm really like struggling, dude, I'm gonna go one or two ways. Your brain's super powerful. And you tell your brain what to do. You know what I mean? Your body's just rolling with it. So your brain can tell you, dude, you're a loser, you're a bum, you're not gonna be able to figure this out, you're a freaking dropout, you're gonna be, you knew people that had money, now they lost it all, or shit. They're going through some hard times, but look what that guy went and did after that.
Yeah.
That guy lost everything, and look what he did, right? And that's the kind of mindset I've had, is I wanna go that way, dude. You know what I mean? But some days when you don't feel it, you need that motivation. You know what I mean? So I love movies, I love YouTube, I love series, and it's mostly about money. If you look at all my, if you look, if I find a new show that's about money,
I'm in it.
100%. Or an entrepreneur, that all these shows, We Crasher just came out, and shows.
It's called We Crashers?
Yeah. We Crash. It's got about Adam Newman that built up. What's the company name? Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. The rental office space, was it?
Oh, yeah, WeWork.
Yeah. So he blew up that company to like 65 billion like value in like a short period of time, and crashed. Anyways, I like hearing these stories about these entrepreneurs that came from nothing that got to somewhere. I'm obsessed with that, like that story. You know what I mean? And then who are they to do it? Regardless if it went crashing down or not, they did something that no one else thought they can do. And I think that's the thing I take in lessons of that. And I really let that absorb in me to help me push me through hard times, dark times, or just times that I need to get motivated.
So what's a day in the life of Kim Manesse look like? Like what's tomorrow looking like? Tomorrow's Wednesday.
Yeah.
So you waking up at what time? What happens before you get here? How do you end the day?
Yeah, I mean things are a little bit different now, right? I have a team, probably about 60 employees here, from in office to outside of office, and I've set up my company where I have systems, operations, personnel. So I have departments and people handling stuff for me. So it's not like I have to come in and do anything. I have people all doing it for me. But what I need to do is come in and help, dictate where that ship should go. You know what I mean? Hey, we should pivot here. We should do this. Or hey, guys, I'm seeing this in here, right? And that's kind of where I'm at in my stage. But as far as I wake up, it's not a crazy schedule. I got 2 toddlers right now. So I'm up at 5:30, 6 o'clock, helping them get up and, make sure my wife's good. I'm usually into the office by 8:30, 9. You know what I mean?
That's still early.
Yeah. But it's not like my team gets in at 6:30.
Yeah.
My team's on it. You know what I mean? And the day before, we're already prepping of what my team needs to do, and it's not like they're running in with their heads cut off. All of them have their own roles in the company, and they go and implement those tasks. You know what I mean? So that way, I can roll in to the office and start handling tasks. And basically, what I do is I have calendar block schedules with non-negotiable stuff like this. Right after this, I have non-negotiables. Right? I have a company meeting. I have meetings with lawyers, I have meetings with my teams, whatever it is, right? I have non-negotiable meetings, but in between those meetings, that's where I like. Yeah. Because I like playing with my business, poking holes in it, figuring out what's going on with that. I mean, I love this shit, but I'm a creative mind, right? Yeah. Strategy. I like testing, tweaking, You know what I mean? Like figuring out what's working, what's not. And then that's when I play with that stuff. So I usually work till about 5:30. I go home, help my wife, get my kids in bed. They're in bed by 6:30, 7 o'clock. Then usually my wife hang out a little bit, and I'm kind of back on the computer, just kind of messing around, looking at my business again, or working out at night. That's basically what I do.
Yeah.
So it's one of those two things, and I just kind of have that same basically day every single day, Monday through Friday. And on the weekends, I just chill out and hang out with my kids. And of course, I'm always working, and my phone's never off. I'm always available. But our business is Monday through Friday.
Yeah. So this has been super inspiring for me, just to kind of like hear your story, hear your growth, see and listen to what you have going on now. And I really like how, you're super relatable. Like, yo, man, like, listen, I'm in the money, I'm in the finance. I'm gonna watch a money movie.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch a finance movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are the things that I'm constantly taking. And I think that's also relatable to more people, because there is a gang of people out here that don't like reading, right? So if they can absorb, a movie, a YouTube video, a podcast, it makes it easier for them to take in the information. So what are a couple of movies or YouTube channels that you like that you could share with the people so they can get into it?
Yeah, I mean, anything entrepreneurial, I like. So as far as like movies, I like all the classic, Wall Street, Wolf of Wall Street.
You like Billions?
Yeah, Billions. I love that show. Succession was a good show.
I haven't seen Succession yet.
Crazy show.
Yeah.
Badass, dude. Guys living lives that I dream of, you know what I mean? You're just living on a different planet almost, right? Yeah, any of these financial movies, you know what I mean? Big Short, all this stuff.
Big Short was good.
I like movies about like financial ruins. I don't know
what
why.
What I was seeing recently, I don't know if you've seen it, but maybe you have, Bitcoin.
Yeah.
That joint was crazy.
Again, like
my man said, I always wanted to be a thief.
Yeah, it was crazy. But like again, you can take like interesting things from these people, but I love stuff like that. I love
like he had
stories.
a super addictive personality too.
Yeah, he was a drug addict.
Yeah.
But he had a very interesting story in the way he did stuff. But again, he created something crazy from nothing, even though it was fraud. But what he did was just insane.
Yeah.
So you can take little things from that. Obviously, remove the bad shit, but just take the interesting things, right? Going from nothing to something. You know what I mean? Whatever way they kind of figured out. But yeah, as far as like YouTube channels, I can't even think of one on the top of my head. I'm just constantly looking at stuff of like podcasts of like really just like entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Mark Cuban, you know what I mean? Grant Cardone.
Yeah.
I was just watching one of JP Morgan last night, talking about the economy, and he was talking about how he went from bank to bank and how he got in the position he was. Just weird stuff like that. I'm constantly listening to this stuff. You know what I mean? So I guess on the top of my head, I don't have anything like pinpointed, but dude, if you look at my YouTube right now, it's all entrepreneurs.
Well, listen, you can share some things with me, like text me later.
Yeah.
I'll put those links below, because I definitely want to. I would love to share with people that are watching this or listening to this. Maybe 2 or 3 things that are kind of like go-to channels or movies for you. Because you talked about the importance of you capturing that motivation. So if they can share in some of that, they might be able to pull some of that inspiration.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely, dude.
So we put that below.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up, bro, is there anything else you want to share with the people that can inspire them to, have a journey of success like you've currently achieved? What would you say?
Yeah, and I appreciate you saying that. And to me personally, I don't think, I'm proud of what I've done, but I'm not satisfied.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think I've done anything special, dude. You can go down to these offices right next door and the guys are doing the exact same thing. You know what I mean? So like, I know I haven't done anything special. I've done something cool of some value right now, but I know I have a lot more potential.
I like that.
Right? So even when I was in my apartment, cold calling people just to, sell my product, I knew I had way more potential. So I think it's just believing in yourself, knowing that you can do it. Don't listen to anybody else. And just listen to yourself and put in the daily actions. If you put the daily actions every single day, you're gonna receive data back, and then you make moves based off that data. You do that over a long period of time, eventually your life starts going like this, and the money starts going like this. And it's hard to stop it when it starts to take off. You know what I mean? So I think it's just consistency, putting in the work. No one's gonna do it for you. You gotta do it yourself, and don't cry that it hasn't happened to you. What's up, guys? My name is Ken Manesse, aka The Lead God. I'm the founder and CEO of Direct Funding Now. We offer business financing to small businesses nationwide. We're hiring for salespeople. I have salespeople in my office right now that are making $50,000 to $70,000 per month. If you're looking for an opportunity, apply with us online. Hit the link in the bio. Looking forward to talking to you.
You're basically saying you're not satisfied.
Yeah. So in life, no one's gonna do anything for you. you are responsible for yourself. So if you want to be successful, that means you have to go put in that daily consistent work. And when you're doing that work, get the data that you're getting, receiving, coming back, and make strategic moves based off that data. And then you just consistently do that over a long period of time, keep investing in yourself, investing in your business, and eventually your revenue will grow up and your income will go up. But no one's gonna do it for you. You gotta pick up your phone and do whatever you need to do to bring in the customers so that you can sell your product or service. And then realistically, you can change your life, 100%.
Man, this has been great. We gotta come back down so I can spend some time with you.
Yeah, dude.
I think that'll be cool. Shoot some more content, show some lifestyle stuff.
Yeah,
I think that'll be awesome. But for those that want to learn more about you, connect with you on Instagram, stuff like that. Where should they go? What should they do?
Yeah, so I'm at The Lead God. So you can find me on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, but really my main portal that I use is Instagram. I actually reply to a lot of people.
Yeah, it's really you. He does reply.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I like talking to people. I like just chit-chatting, whatever it is. But I like posting stuff about entrepreneurship, self-improvement, things that I've learned, and hopefully you guys seek some value with that.
Nah, man, this has been dope. Listen, you guys, make sure you tap into The Lead God, Ken Manesse on Instagram, The Lead God. And, maybe there's some questions that you want to ask them that we didn't touch on, or maybe there's some things you want to go a little bit deeper. Maybe you want to work with, direct funding.
Yeah, straight up. We're hiring.
Who knows? They're hiring.
Yeah.
Right? So listen, all you need to do is make sure you check him out on Instagram, at The Lead God. Ask him whatever you want to ask him. It's really him. He's really answering those DMs. And, we appreciate you guys for checking out another episode of the On the Pursuit podcast. Peace.